There was plenty of buzz heading into Tesla's so-called Battery Day. Wall Street and fans of the company tuned in to hear bold promises from CEO Elon Musk. He delivered by setting out a goal to produce a $25,000 car, Tesla's most affordable yet.
It was always our goal to try to make an affordable electric car.
The car will be capable of driving itself, and it'll have a battery with 6 times more power than any existing model.
I think it may sort of sound a bit silly to some people, but this is like, if for people that really know cells, this is a massive breakthrough.
But Musk says Tesla's mainstream mobile won't be hitting the road for 3 more years, much to the punters' disappointment. Tesla shares fell 7% in after-hours trading, erasing $50 billion from its market value.
There weren't that many sort of tangible developments. There were lots of hypotheticals, but not actually too much that was very concrete. And that set up for investors to be disappointed.
Despite the one-day slump, Tesla shares are still up some 400% since January. And Musk says sales are on track to rise as much as 40% to more than 500,000 cars in 2020. So for shareholders, Tesla's flat battery day was just a speed bump in what's been an electrifying year. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
Well, for more, let's bring in Jim Holder. He's the editorial director of Autocar in London. Great to have you back with us, Jim. Now, around $50 billion wiped off Tesla after Elon Musk's so-called Battery Day presentation. Why do you think investors dumped Tesla stock in such numbers after what he had to say?
Yeah, I think there are two factors at play here. One is, of course, the extraordinary growth of Tesla's stock price, not just this year, as your report said, 400% up, but over the last 12 months, close to 1,000% up. Incredible rise based on what you have to say has been a lot of hype, hope and expectation. Now, the irony is, on the harder part of the job, actually turning Tesla into a profitable company, they've made huge headway in the past year, but there is always this wall of hype ahead of what Tesla is trying to do. And I think that's where this presentation fell short. Promising to halve battery costs is great, but when you're promising to do it in 2 to 3 years' time, people aren't investing for 2 to 3 years' time. They want change now. When you're promising to launch a $25,000 car, it sounds a great headline, a $25,000 electric car. And for Tesla, of course, that would be groundbreaking. But I can go out today and buy a Nissan Leaf in America, which is already a fully electric car with great range capability for $25,000 or less. So what they announced wasn't necessarily groundbreaking enough, and the speed of progress they were promising had stalled from the previous announcements and hype that they'd built up behind the company.
Well, let's look at that key promise that he made, and that was, as you say, the $25,000 Tesla car that he says would have self-driving capabilities in just 3 years' time. Is that too far-fetched? I mean, we know Elon Musk, we know him as a showman who has grand ambitions and often delivers on those ambitions, but do you think he can deliver on this one?
If I'm brutally honest, no. I don't believe the fully self-driving car is on the edge of being brought to production, partly because of the challenges of the technology itself for the car makers to achieve, but also partly because of the legislative hurdles that they have to overcome before these vehicles are allowed on the road. Will cars with some functions towards autonomy and self-driving be available? Absolutely, they already are. Depending on your definition of autonomy, a car that wipes its windscreen when it starts to rain without you having to tell it to, that is a function of autonomy. A car that can keep itself in lane on the motorway and maintain a gap to other vehicles, that's already here. But a full self-driving car that can operate in anything other than a fully enclosed space that is super tailored to the environment seems very far-fetched, probably in a decade, let alone 2 to 3 years. And we've seen Tesla, they're trying to take the initiative in this area. They're trying to steal a march on their rivals. But some of their naming conventions, some of what they've promised really has verged on the sort of pushing the realms too far, pushing into areas that are leading people to make poor decisions when they're in the vehicles and leading to accidents. And I think that's what they have to balance. Elon Musk's inherent optimism can sometimes stretch into dangerous situations, as we've seen.
Yes. Now, during his presentation, Elon Musk acknowledged that the high price of batteries was a huge barrier in getting the price of a Tesla vehicle down. Did he say anything, in your view, to, I guess, reassure investors that they were going to come up with a battery that was more cost-effective and more efficient?
Yeah, I think the promise is there. We have to be very respectful of what Tesla has achieved to date. They appear to have battery capability that can pack more energy into a smaller space, and therefore have a slight edge on their rivals. But of course, they have a head start on their rivals. Other car manufacturers are now investing tens of billions of dollars, not only in trying to catch up, but overtake them. And what we need to see from a stock price point of view for Tesla to stay ahead is to keep making better batteries more cheaply. Now they're looking in the totality of the battery, from where the minerals are mined through to the creation of the battery. They're trying to take that holistic view and use that as one way of getting the pricing down. But there's absolutely no doubt that really is now the holy grail for everyone, getting that price down. A battery pack in an electric car, $10,000 at least, compared to an engine, $1,000 to $2,000. You know, the reason electric cars are expensive is very much down to the cost of that battery pack. Okay. So that is the ground they need to break.
Sure is. Let's see if he can deliver. Thank you so much, Jim Holder from Autocar in London.